Well, site selection is the process of examining multiple options and assessing their relative advantages and disadvantages. Our monthly Eye on Economic Development segment this week continues with part 3 of taking a deeper dive into site selection and a look at how quality of life plays an important role in the decision-making process. Pleased to be joined, as always, by national site selection firm KSM Location Advisors CEO Tim Cook and President Katie Culp. And welcome back, as always, to a process, this whole quality of place issue in economic development. It's been talked about for a long time, but now it just seems it's pervasive. It's everywhere. How important is quality of place to the decision-making process?
Yeah, because labor is such a big deal now, quality of place is a key piece. Where do people want to live? Where do they want to work? And you try to make those be the same place if possible, and every community is trying to stand out in that way.
Yeah, and we hear a lot about that, about quality of place. And Katie, we're going to kind of define it, but do a lot of communities or some communities feel they've got quality of place when maybe they don't?
It's amazing. I mean, every time we go to a conference or meet with people who are visiting economic development people, they lead with almost every time their quality of place, quality of life. And it's not to demean certain communities, but you know, it's all in the eye of the beholder a bit, and not everybody has the same rating. Okay,
let's look at some examples. When we talk about quality of place, what are we talking about? One, I know it's density, right?
Yeah, density. Is it easy to get around? Are there amenities within that area where the employees are, where they live? You don't want it to be too dense, but you don't want to have sprawl where you can't get to the types of activities that you want to be. It's a big focus, especially in the bigger cities.
So in density, would you be talking theoretically about a downtown Indianapolis, where
Absolutely.
Now you've got that convergence of people and retail and...
That's a great example because you've seen it with the administrations. If you go to Ballard, Goldsmith, Peterson, and now with Mayor Hogsett, all of them have tried to create this downtown, and now it's something that really has caught a lot of attention in a positive way.
And you know, it's because employers, they want to be able to attract this workforce, but workers don't want to be, you know, in a city where there aren't other options and there's not a density, so that if they don't like that one employer, they can't go to another one, and so it's just that whole environment, and density is really important.
And density and connectivity kind of lends itself to public transportation. Public transit is another piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, you know, the times are changing, and so the bus lines are something that we're taking a look at, which is awesome, but who knows, you know, over the next 10 to 20 years what that looks like. But being able to get around, especially in dense areas where there's traffic, is a major consideration.
So it's kind of a moving target on public transit. You mentioned, you know, the bus lines, you know, there are multiple ways you can go, and now with driverless cars and all the different technologies we see.
You want to take advantage of the technology, and what's interesting is because there's such a focus on labor now, it's not about how do you move goods from one place to another, it's how do you move people. And every city is trying to figure that out.
Another issue that relates to quality of place is diversity, and I think for in most sectors, but in particular the tech sector, that's a big issue.
We've seen a lot of discussion on that with HQ2 and the Amazon search, and they have that in their RFP. We're looking for a diverse workforce, and so some of the bigger cities have that. Other cities like Indianapolis are trying to create more diversity in the workforce.
Safety, public safety, of course, is always a big issue. How big is that in the quality of place formula?
I think it's pretty prominent, really. You know, when it comes to quality of place, some of it's anecdotal and how you evaluate something, but some things are just kind of numbers driven. And crime, density, some of these things are very easy to quantify and to look at the numbers relative to other cities.
So safety, yeah, you're right. You've got numbers, you've got data that you can actually go on there. Is a city health friendly? Indiana doesn't stack up, unfortunately, tremendously well in that area, but that's another piece of the quality of place.
Yeah, and it's about walkability. How do you create trails? How do you create an environment that can be health friendly? I think Indianapolis can look at cities like Minneapolis, where it's not a great climate, but they're the 1 or 2 second healthiest city in the country.
All right, quickly to social issues, culture, that's big as well.
Yeah, social issues, they come into the diversity issue. Are we embracing the type of the diversity that we want to see with employers and that would attract the kind of employees that will really make a mark?
Strengths, as we kind of wrap this up, strengths when it comes to quality of place and space here in Indianapolis?
I mean, it's nationally known. I mean, when it comes to the cost of doing business, to the type of home you can get in the school, I mean, all of these things, we have creative arts, we have a symphony. There are so many things that are unusual for a city of our size, and those are real strengths, and I think we're smart about playing to our strengths, and we're not trying to be someone we're not. I think some of the more conservative issues that we get hung up on can be sometimes to our economic development detriment. And sometimes when you compare us to a like-sized city that's a little more forward-thinking or state, I don't know that it's always a complimentary comparison for us.
Great perspective on quality of place, which is a huge issue. But now as we wrap up, I do want to get to the serious part of the segment. Today, right, or tonight, is Kat Sapper and Miller's annual Halloween party.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, last year, you guys won the
Yeah, we
best
did.
costume.
We did.
And I think we have visual evidence right there. Look at that. Awesome job. What are you going to be this year? Are you going to win?
It's we better win,
Okay.
and it's a Wizard of Oz theme, and the whole gang's involved. So
Awesome.
stay tuned.
After seeing that photo, our embarrassment is to infinity and beyond.
Very good. Tim Cook, Katie Culp, thanks very much for some great perspective.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Jerry.
Jerry.
And I'll be right back after this.